I'm co-host James Ash.
And I'm co-host Phil Scaife.
Welcome to the Business Lockdown. We would love to welcome on today's show Jan Brumby, CEO of FEO, which is for entrepreneurs only, based in East Yorkshire. Welcome, Jan. How are you doing?
Fine, thank you. Thanks for inviting me.
Hi, Jan.
Hi, Phil.
Jan and I have known each other for, it must be about 5 years now. I was incredibly proud to be a member of For Entrepreneurs Only, and it's a group that's set up to support businesses and entrepreneurs, and a lot of it is giving back to the community, which is massive. I mean, actually, we've all got experiences and stories as entrepreneurs of having super support from our network, our family, friends, and other people in business. And FEO is just tremendous in order to give back. And I had absolutely some amazing moments and times in FEO, and the support that I was given by the FEO community was tremendous, and really helped steer my business journey further than it was already in place. So first of all, thank you. Probably not only thank you for having me within FEO for those numbers of years, but probably well done for putting up with me. I think that's probably more like it. Jan, do you want to give us a bit of background on yourself and how you came into FEO?
Yeah, a little bit of a potted history, really. I'm Hull born and bred. I've lived in Hull and the surrounding area all of my life. I'm very passionate about the place that I was brought up in. I went to school locally. I then worked for HSBC and then for the university for a little while. And it was during my early career that I got involved in Young Enterprise as a volunteer. And as a result of my volunteering, I then became the area manager in a paid position, and then the regional manager for Young Enterprise. And it was while I was there that one of my board members told me about this new entrepreneurs group, which I thought was like Young Enterprise, but for grown-ups, really, which is sort of exactly what it is. It's in the real world. And so I went for an interview and got the job, thank goodness. And 7 years later, I'm still here.
How have you found this time? I mean, because I've been looking forward to you being on the show just to catch up with you on a personal level, but overseeing, I know you've got just about 200 members in FEO now. Is that correct?
Yeah, we've got roughly 200 members. We are fiercely independent, as a lot of entrepreneurs are. So our membership ranges from some of the most successful entrepreneurs in Hull and East Riding, the hundreds of millions turnovers, right down to the 1 and 2 man bands, and everything in between, all the different sectors, all the different products and services. The thing that they've all got in common is that they are the business owner. So we don't have sort of finance directors and marketing directors and things. It's purely for the business owners, the risk takers.
And you don't have the banks either. That's right. You don't allow the banks in. Is that correct?
We don't have the banks. No, we've got some very key partners who they're sort of 6 local businesses, not including a bank though. We've got our legal partner, which is Goschalks, and we've got Smales Goldie, KCOM. We've got 6 key partners in all, and they help us with anything that we need, which is absolutely brilliant, because entrepreneurs, it's a rocky road, especially at the minute for an entrepreneur, and it's good to know that support's there.
So 200 entrepreneurs, businesses, and we're connecting with a number of entrepreneurs and businesses through this, also through our network personally. And what are you seeing from the FEO community? There's 200 entrepreneurs. What is coming through in terms of issues right now, challenges. I imagine the support group of FEO, the strengths of support, have never been needed more than a time like now.
Yeah, I mean, you can't really believe what's happened in the last 2 or 3 weeks and how quickly it's, things are changing day to day. There might have been another announcement while we've been talking, and yeah, I think it's where FEO sort of comes into its own, really, which is, no matter what challenges and barriers and obstacles and stuff you're having to deal with in your business, it's just wonderful to know that you'll still give some time to someone else who's got a problem. You'll always pick up the phone to help someone else. That's what FEO is all about. It's not about sort of networking and passing business cards around. It's that peer support of what I call the feelings. It's people who have lost a night's sleep worrying about exactly what you're going through now and can talk to you through experience, good and bad, that is. You know.
I imagine there's a lot of sleepless nights in the business community and certainly in FEO at the moment. What pieces of advice could you offer to our audience and to not only the local business community, but we have a global audience with this channel?
Yeah. The interesting thing about FEO is that I use the word advice very sparingly because, there are so many great organisations out there, usually government funded organisations, who have got sort of business advisors who are trained, they've done exams, they've spent an awful lot of time helping businesses and helping businesses, the business as a whole. With FEO, it's not so much advice, it's a listening ear, it's somebody to talk to, it's someone who you can talk to fully, knowing that, it can be a really lonely place running your own business, however your business is. You've got your friends and your family that you can talk to, you've got your colleagues and managers and what have you at work. But actually, as the business owner, sometimes you are completely on your own if you've got a decision to make. So talking to someone who understands, is very different, I think, from receiving business advice. Do you see what I mean?
Absolutely. What are you guys doing in order to come together and offer support in maybe a different way?
Okay, so obviously, like a lot of organisations, we've had to curtail and stop our face-to-face events and meetings, like our ignition for startups and things like that. So myself and my colleague Kerry, we're personally calling all of our members regularly to ask them what they need. In fact, just before I spoke to you, I've just written a document based around our members' key needs and barriers and concerns and worries at the moment. And we've got small groups of FEO members who have come together. They meet on Zoom, they meet on Microsoft Teams, they speak on the phone. So it's all going on organically. It's not face to face, but it's ear to ear, or it's over these great new, these wonderful new platforms that nobody knew about until 3 weeks ago, probably.
Yeah. Is the phone calls then, is that a new thing for you then in your role, the actual sort of those one-to-one phone calls?
We haven't sort of done what I would call a let's ring round all of our 200 members today before.
Yeah, I imagine.
Really, we haven't needed to because we see them all so regularly.
And also the time as well.
Oh gosh. Well, we did vastly underestimate the amount of time that it took, split them each and did 100 each. And we thought it would take a couple of days, but yeah, people wanted to talk and were really pleased to have someone who was offering, to go and find someone who could help them. So I think it took double the amount of time that we thought, but it was worth it. It was worth every minute.
Yeah, I bet.
Effie, I've just come up with, had a really lovely memory as well. And because Phil and I actually went to the same school, different periods of our lives. But we both went to Longcroft School, and it was FEO that basically, two proudest moments in my life pretty much is being best man and going back to Longcroft School in a position of to inspire students at a school that, you know, I was a little bit like Marmite with the teachers at Longcroft. I was either loved or hated. There was no middle ground, and that probably doesn't surprise you. So I kind of struggled, as a lot of entrepreneurs can vouch for, certainly with ADHD, where the classroom just can't contain you, you know, and certainly the way that schools are set up to teach people to go into the system and be employed, not so much to be an entrepreneur.
Follow the rules.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah. So to go back to Longcroft School and be in a position to tell my business journey and my background with a big photograph of me as a 12-year-old in starting Longcroft was really phenomenal. And not only that, but lead the day with 10 other entrepreneurs, and yourself was there as well. So that was just phenomenal to be able to do that. And I know I'm not alone when I kind of give examples of that with FEO. So, you know, I've thanked you for that. That was just an amazing experience. We did that 2 or 3 times as well.
That's
we did that each year.
Yeah. Well, that's one of the things that FEO does sort of with what we call our next gen group. And that going into schools, colleges, and enthusing young people about being an entrepreneur, running your own business, because there doesn't seem to be a lot of careers involvement in schools anymore. You know, they still have things like mock interview days and you know, the old-fashioned I don't know what you'd call them, careers conventions maybe, where, you know, employers go with their trade stands and the kids go with the parents. But actual role models of entrepreneurs are hard to find in schools. So we take, like James just said, we take in a whole bunch of them for the day and, you know, inspire the kids about a real sort of warts and all view of what being an entrepreneur is, you know, telling the truth about the highs and the lows, the risks and the rewards. And it is so rewarding for everyone.
It was so powerful as well, going into those environments, and, you know, you're not a teacher. And so, I've got my previous former life before going into business was in mental health, behavioural problems, and I think my biggest buzz was going into the schools was identifying, or you'd often get the teachers beforehand saying, "Oh, just watch out for that one and him over there," and that, and I would just love that, because I'd be like, right, I know I can make an impact on those individuals. And I remember just being really frank with them. I think I even, like, you've got an audience of anywhere between 50 and 200 students. And I think I even got to a point where I'd just be like, well, I'm not a teacher, you know, we'll be giving you respect. I expect it our way. I think I even said sometimes is that if you think that not being involved today is going to benefit you, if you think that going and doing nothing or slacking off has more benefit to you, go do it, because I've got better things to do in my time to inspire these guys. Do you know? And they would always respond, and more often than not, the ones that were pointed out or had identified, you know, that were struggling to stay still or initially disengaged from a group, they would be the star students that would be picked out at the end of the day.
Would. And they're the entrepreneurial ones that to the teachers might be a little bit disruptive or cheeky or whatever it might be. Yeah.
Phil, how were you at school with that in mind? Were you?
With that in mind, I was a model student at school. I wasn't top of the class and everything, but I was above average, and I just listened, paid attention. I didn't get told off. I didn't say boo to a goose. So I was very much, probably didn't fit that typical mold that you read about. You know, the kid that drops out of school early because it's not for him, and then he goes on to do these amazing things. I saw it right the way through A levels, university, and everything, and came out, and I was on the path to be, you know, just a paid for architect, and then just pivoted when I had a disagreement with my boss, and decided I needed to I couldn't disagree with someone above me unless I was prepared to do it myself, and that was sort of like a defining moment. But what's quite interesting about what you're saying there is about the educational system. We're now homeschooling for the first time, and I'd be quite interested to see how business owners and entrepreneurs and people are tackling homeschooling compared to like standard curriculums and school curriculums, which they've all come home from school with workbooks and ways of working and things for every different age group. But I know in our house, the first thing we did was we ripped those up. You know, for us as a family unit, this is a gift of an opportunity to say, right, okay, education is growth. So what does growth look like? What does it mean to you? What are the things? And so there's incredible resources everywhere, all around us, to grow. But it has to start with passion. And obviously, James, for you didn't find that passion at school, but you've certainly grown. You've found it in other ways and in other things. And that's what I'm trying to talk to my kids about over the past couple of weeks. Is like, I shouldn't have to be a teacher, because if I'm being a teacher, then I'm teaching you the wrong things. If I'm alongside you and I'm assisting your journey, and you're self-driving, then we're talking about the right things. And it's amazing how my 10-year-old now, right now, he's learning French, and he doesn't need me to teach him it. I've shown him where the resources are, and he's just hungry to know that language, and he's just hungry. And I don't think that happens in a controlled syllabus-based classroom. So, and that's what this period of time is very, very, very good for that sort of thing. So maybe it does play into the entrepreneurial mind.
Well, probably the only thing the kids aren't going to be able to do is go out there selling stuff, are they? You know, and making a profit, because they're not allowed out of the homes. But they're going to be able to use their, like you say, their imagination, problem solving. You know, somebody I know had sent their kids out again, get some fresh air. You know, gone out in the garden, and she'd given them a load of old stuff from the garage and some tool, hammer and nails, and they'd gone off to make a go-kart, you know. And I thought that was brilliant.
Yeah.
It was just them having fun, but also learning to work as a team. All of those sort of what I would call employability, or what have you know, skills. Not just the knowledge. You do need the knowledge, but you need those skills and those sort of attitudes as well, really.
Yeah.
Also, the ability to create content. You know, we spoke to Beck, our last guest, and we were talking about, it was the child that was the toy tester, you know, making millions and millions of dollars on YouTube, being a toy tester and putting that content out. So, you know, there's all of these opportunities to be creating fun content, or if you're reviewing toys or products, and connecting with an audience and building an audience and interacting in that form. So on the we were talking about the schooling system, and Thomas Martin, who what's his official role with ARCO, Jan?
So he's there. I think he's their executive chairman now at ARCO. Yeah,
so Thomas Martin, I think he'd traditionally led the education group, which I was part of, and then he came back into the fold. Tremendous. Like, I mean, all members, we were, you know, coming out of there just going, that's how you lead a meeting. That's how you do stuff. It was just like, you were just sat there like a sponge, just thinking, just unbelievable. Probably the best person I've ever seen lead a boardroom meeting, like phenomenal. And he told us his story, and he was on holiday somewhere in England with the Lake District, or near Manchester, Bolton somewhere, and he found himself, I think he was having a pint in a pub, and opposite was a private school, and obviously his background within education group, and he saw someone come out who looked like they might be senior within the school, and he made a point of going out and saying hello to him, and it was the head teacher, the principal. And so Thomas is naturally just asking questions about how the school is and what goes on and that. And what he found was that the principal said, yeah, well, as a school, they very quickly distinguish the ones that are going to succeed and get the good marks and the ones that aren't. And Thomas might say, well, that seems pretty unfair, that you do that very early on. And the principal said, no, we've literally done that since 100 years ago, since the school first started. And he said, and that's how we do it, and it always works. And Thomas was like, yeah, but what about the ones that you deem to be that are going to be unsuccessful? It's almost like you're leaving them hanging them out to dry. And he was just like, oh no, we never need to worry about those ones, because those are the ones that employ the others.
Yes, that's right. Yeah, that's it. Yeah.
And Thomas was just like, he couldn't wait to feed that back to us. And at that point, you're just like, that is absolutely, isn't that's genius. So found that very interesting within the schooling system, and what's been happening for hundreds of years in that schooling system. So, Jan, tell us a little bit about coming away from FEO and business. About yourself, and how are you maintaining sanity and clarity at the moment?
Well, I mean, it's hard for me because I'm not a television watcher. I'm not the type of person who comes home after work and shuts the door and draws the curtain. I'm not usually in. So my two main sort of pastimes are theatre and music. So I sing in a tribute band to the Beautiful South, which is called Beautiful South and the House Martin, should I say, called the Beautiful Couch. So our rehearsals and gigs and things at the minute are all just, not happening. And I'm also president of Hesel Theatre Company, which is the area's sort of premier amateur musical theatre company. And we've been getting ready and rehearsing since September with a production of Shrek, the musical, which hasn't been produced in this area before. And it was going to be at Hull New Theatre. It was going to be in about 3 weeks' time from now. The tickets were selling enormously well. It was going to be really popular. And of course, Hull New Theatre's closed. And, so that was a real disappointment, really. But we had a committee meeting over Zoom on Tuesday night, and we're fingers crossed we can, push it forward into Hull New Theatre's, 2021 or what have you schedule, because nobody knows anything yet, about when people are going to be able to go back to work. So I'm not a Netflix person. I'm not a box set person. So I've been compiling quizzes for my family for us to do over these type of forums. So this weekend I'm going to be doing my first one. So let's hope it goes well.
Brilliant. So it's been quite a shift for you then. Like I say, if you're not into Netflix, that's one of the constants that we're falling back onto. I mean, the loss of theatre and music. Quizzes is the new pastime. Yeah.
Well, I mean, it's funny, isn't it, how people are finding all of these virtual. You can host a virtual dinner party. Someone had done that. There's a thing called Pub Hub where you can book a table at a pub, with 4 or 5 friends, and you all just bring your own glass of wine and then sit at the computer. I've even joined a lounge event in Spain at a sort of musical theatre bar where they did sort of songs from the shows and things like that. So there's loads out there. I even took part in an 80s workout. That was a lady in America. Where was it? New Orleans or something. She was hosting it all in her fluorescent, leg warmers and everything. And there we all were, doing an aerobic workout to Madonna and Tony Braxton and people like
wow. that. So when this is all over and we go back to whatever normal looks like after this, is there any of these new things that you'll still continue doing, do you think?
Yeah, I think we'll definitely do Zoom. I mean, you know, I think somebody said about the crash in 2008 that, you know, when that was all over, suddenly there were these new things like Airbnb, you know, that no one had ever heard of before. And now most of us use it, don't we, to book weekend breaks and things.
Yeah.
So I think with things like Zoom and these other sort of online things, I think as well, thinking about the environment, you know, my car's been on the drive now for 9 days, something like that. And I've actually built into I didn't have time before, but I've built into my day now an hour fast walking or what have you outside, you know, in a sort of circular route. And that's quite good as well, because I just think there's the opportunity there to get more exercise while the weather's good.
Yeah. And would you keep your 80s workout?
Well, actually, I might do actually, but I prefer, as far as music goes, I don't know about you, but if I had my own workout, I don't know, maybe Spotify 40 minutes, and it was every single song that I absolutely love, all my favourites, I'd be more likely to do it every day than, you know, if it was, Oh Mickey and things like that. You know, we were sweating by the end of it, but yeah, I'd probably keep up some kind of fitness regime, but maybe not 80s.
But keep the headpiece.
Yeah.
Jan, what one piece of advice could you offer our audience? Could you offer people out there who may be struggling? You know, what is it that you're picking up from members of FEO? What is the one piece of advice you could put towards our audience?
It's the C word, communication. That, you know, that is the key thing, because, you know, there isn't any excuse in today's world that we live in not to communicate with other people. In fact, I think there's more of a risk of people sort of being over communicated to and getting absolutely swamped. You know, information, everybody wants to be a journalist now and to get the news out first and to share every headline. And, you know, headlines don't really need to be shared by 30 million people, because, you know, so you've got all the social media channels, you've got all of the computer-based ones, and my avenues of communication coming into me at the minute are like Spaghetti Junction, which for those who don't know is a very complicated road network in Birmingham. And it's really, really hard to keep a track on everything coming in. So I think for business owners and leaders, you know, who are trying to steer people through a really, really tricky and worrying and critical time, and that includes parents as well, you know, that communication and to stay calm and to only follow proper news and not go looking for gossip and you know, not go looking for all of that, really, because you're just going to fill your head with a load of negativity and panic. You know, so just stick to the really good news sites, I think, and communicate with your family and your team and your people at work and your neighbours as well. You know, I think every neighbourhood now has got a WhatsApp group to check to see that everyone's all right and see if anybody needs any help.
Yeah.
Jan, before we wrap up, we encourage our guests to provide resources, and I know that the FEO website has a section on resources, and you know, what something that springs to mind is are the resources still on there from Sir David Hall?
Yes, so David Hall, who's one of our founder members, he wrote 50 toolkits, and they cover every aspect of business, every aspect of personal development for business owners, literally every subject, and they're all on our website under toolkits. We've also added Toolkit 51 this week, which I really recommend you reading because it's written by Thomas Martin. And it's sort of crisis leadership, really. And it's the coronavirus special edition. So it's, you know, at the time when every business owner has been dropped in this at exactly the same time, and every business owner, you know, being dealt a hand of cards, you know, and depending on what you sell or what you trade in, what you manufacture, you know, some businesses might have got a good hand, you know, and they're mega busy, and other businesses have got just the opposite, and their business has fallen off a cliff. So it's a crisis management sort of toolkit for leadership, how to be a good leader in these critical times.
That'd be awesome, and we will put the links in the post. But for the audience listening on podcast, where's your website? Where can people find you online?
Okay, so if you can spell the word entrepreneur, it's really easy. So it's forentrepreneursonly.co.uk, and most of our social media is FEO Hull, so at FEO Hull. And we're on all of the social media channels. We've also got some blogs on our website this week from members. You know, we're going back to the helping others, you know, members with specific experience and skills are putting a blog on the website to try and help others in their particular field. So that's worth a look at.
Right. Actually, on the website, on the homepage is none other than Paul Gibson and myself. We interviewed.
That's right. You are, yes.
You, Paul, in our first week, and an incredible guy, of course. He just oozes enthusiasm and drive. Yeah. And I think our mugs are still on the homepage when I had a huge beard. So, yes, a lot more wisdom back then, Phil. A lot more wisdom, certainly in meetings.
That was the meeting where I think you were chatting to Jonathan Elvidge, weren't you, at the university?
Yeah, Jonathan's on there as well. Yeah, there's and my friend Jack Burton, who's got Fit 24. We were talking about Jack actually a short while ago. So there's us on there buzzing and talking between ourselves. That was the first time. I met Paul. So that's actually captured and on FEO's homepage. So, Jan, thanks so much for joining us. These episodes are they're literally reaching thousands, and we've got resources to share from FEO point of view, and I'd just like to again thank you and the FEO group for the years of support and guidance that you gave me. It was phenomenal, really, absolutely phenomenal, and it's funny, a lot of people coming into FEO or being introduced to FEO kind of think that there must be, okay, where's the snag here? Like, where's the kind of the hidden agenda? And there definitely is no hidden agenda. It really is about supporting people. And it's funny that I've experienced when people go into FEO purely network for the benefits of business, they often don't stick around. And it's funny, but the people that join, people that join for genuine reasons. And I consider off past personal experiences that if you join for the genuine reasons, then your benefits to business are phenomenal, absolutely phenomenal.
Oh, definitely, yeah. And I mean, there are lots of great networking and business-to-business groups out there as well in any town or city, but that's not what we are.
Thank you, Jan Brumby, for joining us today.
It's been tremendous.
Yeah, thank you, Jan. It's been great.
Thank you, Phil.
Much appreciated. Bye-bye.
Bye.
Thank you so much for joining us on the Business Lockdown.
Please comment, like, share and subscribe to help build our global community.
We look forward to seeing you all soon.